What's up, everybody? We're back. Episode 24, the end of the bench show, where the fans go. Got a jam-packed episode with Chris Burkowski, who's back in the building.
What's going on?
Yeah, Chris, what's going on, man? We were talking a little bit before, so we have a little bit of an audible at the end of the episode, but we're basically just going to go through every defensive position, guys we like. The fans know what's up. This is like the fourth lineup episode we did. I got really good feedback on the offensive one. My friend Tyler texted me. He said, you got to have Burkowski on again. He's one of the best guests you have.
Oh, thank you very much, Tyler.
And I agree with him, and that's why you're back here. I don't have shitty people on this show ever. But Perk, like we said, there's 12 defensive positions we got to get through. I'm sure we'll have some overlap. We didn't talk before, but for the sake of time.
And this time I did not send you my list beforehand, so you have no idea who my list is.
Which is fine, but for the sake of time, we're just going to get right into it. We're going to have a deeper conversation at the end. Regardless of the time, we'll make the time for it. So we're going to start with strong safety. If you have been listening to the show, I think you know I'm going to go Jamal Adams here, despite him being a total pain in the ass right now for the Jets. He's still, in my opinion, the best strong safety in football. I guess there are probably some arguments to be had for other players, but Jamal Adams is a guy I want on my football team, just period. So, and strong safety is the position he plays, so that's where he falls for me.
Yeah, I definitely think of it. I definitely think that I considered him for quite a long time. I think he's an excellent strong safety. You could probably say the best in the league and one of the best defensive players in the league. I don't know why that. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why the Jets don't just like shut up and pay him. But he'll be playing for another team in a year or two. So, but I went with another strong safety. I think another person you could argue to be the top strong safety in the league, and that's Derwin James with the Chargers.
Okay.
Another guy who I think who like Jamal Adams just does it all. I think he's absolutely outstanding. He can play the slot. He can play up front and rush the quarterback. He plays coverage. One of the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah, and I think strong safety is really turning into that position where you have to be like a jack of all trades. And
he's interesting too because he actually plays free safety as well. He slots over to both sides.
That's impressive.
So he's extremely talented. Like that kind of Swiss Army knife type of player. Yeah,
he's just a football player, right? At the end of the day, that's why I want Jamal Adams. That's why you want Derwin James. You put them on the field, you don't have to worry about it. They're going to play hard. They're going to make tackles. They're going to make plays, and they're going to be, safeties are the anchors of your defense. Really, I mean, the pass rushers are also very important. But if they get past this, if your offense gets past the safety, it's often trouble. So
absolutely.
We'll move up to free safety, and when I think of this position, Chris, I think of when I was 10 years old, playing football on the schoolyard, and there was one extra guy, and they're like, "Oh, I'll just be like the free safety, automatic safety or whatever, play center field." So when I think free safety, I think of just a true center fielder on the football field, and I think of Marcus Williams of the Saints when I do that.
Okay.
He has lights out speed, great coverage skills, makes up a ton of ground. And that's really all. I feel like saying center fielder to you kind of says everything I need to say, and I think the listeners will kind of get that too. But yeah, I think there are definitely better safeties in the league. I'm not ready to say Marcus Williams is the top guy like we had Jamal Adams and Derwin James, but I think given Jamal Adams' ability to play in the box, I want a free safety to be able to cover the whole backfield, in a pinch, and I think that's Marcus Williams for me.
Sure. I have a guy who has a similar skill set, and that is Minkah Fitzpatrick with the Steelers. I just want to read you a stat really quick. In pass coverage last season after the trade to the Steelers, in 14 games on passes that are, when he's targeted, the QB rating is 46.3.
Damn. That's impressive.
He doesn't let anything get by him. He's one of the most like dynamite in-your-face defenders in the league. He plays like a cornerback at free safety. I don't know that you can name another defender that plays as hard and as fierce as he does. I think he's stellar, and the fact that the Dolphins traded him is so fucking stupid.
Yeah, what did the Steelers have to give up? Because I remember when it came out,
first. They gave up. Yeah, they that was one of the Dolphins' 3 first-round picks this year. Let me look up the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade really quick.
I wonder if that was the pick that got them Tua. But no, they drafted Tua.
No, it wasn't. That was their own pick.
Yeah,
that was their own pick.
That'd be something. That's a hell of a deal.
It was for a. Okay, so the Dolphins traded Minkah Fitzpatrick, a 2024 and a 2021 7th, in exchange for a first and 5th round pick in 2020 and a 2021 6th round pick. So just an awful trade.
Yeah.
Even though they got a first, they're giving up draft picks to get like a late round pick in the 6th and 5th. That's an awful trade. They should have gotten a player back from Minkah Fitzpatrick at least, along with a first. Yeah, but who did they draft with that pick? Now I want to see that.
I mean, they had a pretty good first round from what I remember.
They had a really good first round, yeah.
So either way, it works out.
Yeah, which pick is that? I think that was their number 20.
Probably going to be a pretty
low
pick because the Steelers.
Number 18, they took Austin Jackson with that, the offensive tackle.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Definitely an important position.
Not horrible. Yeah, not horrible.
But yeah, I mean, I like that pick. I think, and also like the completion percentage on a safety's balls. I mean, you think most of them are going to probably be like mid to long range passes. So the lower that number is, so obviously like off the bat, you probably expect it to be a lower number, but
yeah, but for the passer rating to be for the passer rating to not even be above 50,
right,
is pretty ridiculous.
Right. That means he's definitely doing his job. He's doing it at a very elite level, making what are already hard passes to complete even harder. Because if it gets past Minkah, like I said, with Jamal and Darwin and Marcus Williams, like it's game over. It's touchdown time. So. Yeah.
So that's the passer rating is 46.3, but the completion percentage when he's targeted was 52%, which is
still not good. For
very good.
Yeah.
Very good for him. Pretty bad for a quarterback.
Yeah. All right, so Chris, the safeties don't really matter in the backfield if you got lockdown corners, right? So let's jump to the corners. I didn't go like CB1 and CB2. Like I just listed 2 guys.
I did the same. Yeah. But one of them I think might be in the top 3 cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah, so I have a CB. I have 2 guys that you could clearly make a depth chart of, but just in terms of like how we're gonna say them, I'm not gonna say them in that order. But regardless, I picked Jalen Ramsey.
Of course.
I mean, I love guys who chirp, honestly, especially at the cornerback position. And he backs it up for the most part, so I can't really complain there. Little bit of a diva. But a lot of skill position players in the NFL are divas, so like how much can I really hold that against him?
Right.
At the end of the day, I know he's going to play extremely well. He's going to lock down most, if not all, wide receivers, and he's not going to back down from the challenge. So Jalen Ramsey, I mean, he's up there, right? Still, I mean, because I feel like he had a somewhat down year last year compared to his breakout year in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But he's still up there, in my opinion.
A down year for him is an excellent year for any other cornerback.
Yeah. I mean, he's better than anyone the Jets have had in since prime Darrelle Revis. So
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison. They play a little different styles, but I think in terms of production, I think it's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah.
I went with Tre'Davious White from the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, I gave him a look too.
Yeah, Tre'Davious White, I think had a really good rookie and sophomore season, and then last year, I think he became one of the top cornerbacks in the league. He had 6 interceptions. On 90 targets, he allowed 45 completions and a passer rating of 45. He had an absolutely stellar year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he shuts down. He does stuff similar to Jamal Adams and Derwin James, in that he'll come up and pressure the quarterback as well, while also obviously playing lockdown coverage.
He's like a ball hawk, and not in the sense of like interceptions. Totally. Just like he will always be around the ball. Like when the play ends, you're gonna see Tre'Davious White probably getting up near the football.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's one of the most entertaining guys to watch in the league.
Yeah, I mean, as a Jets fan, I'm pretty familiar with him. I'm not looking forward to him staying in the AFC East his whole career. I hope the Bills fuck that up somehow. But he's a tremendous player.
Yeah, I think there's a shot of that happening, of him getting tired of playing in Buffalo and wanting to go to a bigger city. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, because I think he's definitely going to get paid when the time comes.
Oh yeah, he'll get paid, sure. He's got they exercise his 5th-year option, so he's there at least this year and next year. But after that, they've got to open up the purse strings.
Got it. So my next corner. So when I do watch college football, Chris, I watch Florida. I think partially because of when Tim Tebow was there. And my friend Matt DeFranco is a big Florida fan, so I kind of just followed him with it. We had a corner there a couple years ago. I think he just played his 2nd year in the NFL. Vernon Hargreaves is my next corner. He's undersized, just like, because I think Jalen Ramsey is also undersized. There's maybe a problem that I'm looking at it now, but I just remembered watching him. I don't watch him a whole lot now because, I don't get a lot of Bucs games on TV, but
right.
His coverage skills in college were tremendous. I thought he was going to be a great player. I think he's definitely on the right track and projecting upward. And I think with him, Ramsey, and my safeties, I think I'm looking pretty good. I mean, Hargreaves is a hard-nosed guy. He's definitely not afraid to talk, which could possibly get me in trouble here with these cornerbacks. But Vernon Hargreaves for me would be my 2nd corner.
Okay, yeah, and he's a playmaker, Vernon Hargreaves. I like him a lot. I think he had a really good rookie year, and I think he had an even better sophomore year. I went with a guy who also who I also think had a great rookie year and a better sophomore year, and that is Denzel Ward with Cleveland.
Okay.
I think he was a bit of a surprise at the number 4 overall pick 2 years ago, but he's more than lived up to that. In coverage, he allowed 40 completions on 83 targets this past year, 48.2% pass completion percentage. His issue is tackling. He's not a great tackler, but a lot of the time guys do not get by him because he's got tremendous speed. So that's not a huge problem. And he also, he likes to play the ball. He doesn't have a lot of interceptions to his name, but he has a lot of pass deflections,
which is just as important. Yeah. I mean, interceptions are obviously more important, but if you can at least break up the pass, you live to fight another down, which is good. And not a lot. I mean, in his defense, not a lot of cornerbacks are like amazing tacklers, but as long as you could hold the guy long enough for a safety or a linebacker to come help you, that's really all that matters. And once you're just chasing a guy, if you just dive and trip him, he'll probably fall down anyway. So, I like that pick. I like how we're staying very young so far in all of the guys that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
mentioned.
Well, yeah. My entire secondary has played no more than 3 years. So, yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing. Sports in good hands, and we haven't overlapped once.
Nope.
But
So
I
far,
think once we get to
we're
the
going to in the linebackers. I
yeah,
think.
when we get to the box, we're
Yeah.
probably gonna overlap. So I think it's important to note when we get to this part, Chris, that we chose to do a 4-3, standard, nothing, nothing fancy, no fancy
Yeah.
sub packages or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're doing two defensive ends, two tackles, two outside linebackers, and a middle linebacker.
Right.
Although if you look at depth charts, you will not see the term OLB anymore, or
No.
MLB.
Well,
But we're still using it.
both of my outside linebackers would be would be defensive ends on a 4-3.
Yeah.
But they do play outside linebacker on a 3-4. So
Yeah.
I'm going to count them as outside linebackers.
Yeah.
So deal with it.
Yeah, and like it's fine. Obviously, it's fine. Offensive linebacker / pass rusher is basically what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start this off again. I went T.J. Watt from the Steelers.
Sure.
His brother is also obviously amazing. I don't know if we're gonna talk about him later with you, but
Derek Watt.
Yeah, Derek Watt is fantastic. Isn't he a tight end in Wisconsin? Or is he in the NFL
now? He's a fullback with the Steelers. He's real good.
We didn't do fullbacks last time. So,
no,
all right. So, shout out
my fullback
Derek Watt.
Is Derek
He's my
Watt.
fullback. Yeah, TJ Watt is amazing. I mean, he has gotten better every single season. Yeah. He is just like his brother in that he is all about the smoke. He wants to be on the quarterback as quickly as possible. He usually gets there, very disruptive. Literally everything you want off the edge is TJ Watt. And I think with him, if you put him on the edge, you're going to be happier than you are sad. And that's really all I have to say. I mean, he's a tremendous player and constantly getting better.
Yeah.
And he stays kind of healthy, I think, too, unlike JJ.
Absolutely. My first outside linebacker is Shaq Barrett with the Buccaneers.
Okay.
So he just had one of the best seasons in recent years. Last year, he sacked 19 and a half quarterbacks. He's just an absolute monster. He's got ridiculous speed. Like all he needed to do, I guess, was get out of Denver and put up a monster season. He was unreal for Tampa Bay last year, and I think he's only going to get better. Which it's kind of crazy to say he's going to get better when he just had 19 and a half sacks. But I think you're going to see more tackles this year, solo and combined. I think he's going to have more QB pressures. I think it's just the sky's the limit for this guy. He's got tremendous speed, huge arms that wraps up every quarterback that he gets close to. There's not much more to say about this guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. And I think, look, I mean, we see a lot
he's not great in coverage. That's in pass coverage. That's his only thing. Yeah. But he's one of the best. Turned into one of the best pass rushers in the league, and is really good at in run defense as well.
Yeah, and you said Tampa Bay, so I mean Todd Bowles is there running that defense, and Todd Bowles has done wonders for players like Shaq Barrett, and I think he's only going to continue to thrive under him, as long as Todd is there. I think it's a good pick. It may be a name that people don't know, like off the top of the head. So if you don't know, go to YouTube, look up his highlights. Dude's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to middle linebacker, Perk, and honestly, this is a really important position on the defense. It's usually the quarterback of the defense.
This is the quarterback of the defense, yeah.
And when I think middle linebacker, this was the first position I was able to fill out because this is the first guy that pops to my head. I know there may be guys better than him, but the first one that pops to my head is Bobby Wagner of the Seahawks.
Sure.
right away.
Sure.
When I think middle linebacker, I think Ray Lewis, I think Bobby Wagner, I think Brian Urlacher, and I mean, not in that order, but he's amazing. I mean, he's the leader of that defense for sure. He really, really consistent. He had 86 solo tackles last year, which is a little down from his best years, but he's always there. He's always reliable. I think he plays through just about anything. And the Seahawks linebacker core speaks for itself, and that has been headlined and led by Bobby Wagner for at least, I think, 5 or 6 years at this point. So yeah, Bobby Wagner, he's just a dude. Like he's gonna be around the ball every time, just like, you know, we said the same about Jamal Adams, Tre'Davious White. He is not going to screw me over, and I know he is going to lead the defense well, and that's why I picked Bobby Wagner.
Sure.
I would have picked Luke Kuechly if he didn't retire.
Yeah, of course. I probably would have done the same thing. I went a little younger,
Okay.
A lot younger, with a guy that I absolutely love, that I think is going to continue to become one of the best middle linebackers in the league, and continue to wreak havoc on offenses and continue to let his name be known, and that is Tremaine Edmonds with the Bills.
A lot of Bills talk today.
Yeah, a little bit. I think they've got the best defense in the league, personally.
All right, that's fair.
But but Tremaine Edmonds, 115 combined tackles last year, 66 solo tackles.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's one of the best run defenders in the league, and he's also very good in pass coverage. This is pretty low for a linebacker. Allowing 65 and a half completion percentage on passes that are, targets, on passes. Yeah. So targets that he's defending. That's low for a linebacker. He doesn't get to the quarterback that often, but middle linebackers generally don't. But like I said, he's unstoppable in run defense. He's really good in coverage. Follows and keeps up with every tight end in the league. And at like 6'5", 250, he's got like absolutely absurd speed.
I think. I think, not to cut you off, but I think like you said the completion percentage was like 65.
Yeah.
Right. So I think like that's really good, because you think of linebackers, they're probably covering, middle linebacker especially, probably covering like the running back out of the backfield, maybe a tight end on like short routes. So those short routes, you're probably expecting to hit on an offensive side like 80% of the time. So if you're only allowing it 65% of the time, like it's still like it's still very good. I mean, it's not like what you would want to see from a cornerback, but especially given the short routes and the middle linebacker position, I think it's tremendous. And again, not good for my Jets. So that's a common theme.
Yeah, no, I think he's tremendous. I think he's only getting better. Last year was only his second year. He's now just turned 22. So he's got the best years of his career ahead of him. The Bills are going to reap the benefits, and I don't think I do think we're going to see the Bills hoist the Lombardi Trophy within the next 4 years.
4 years? So okay. So hold on, we gotta take a little detour here. So you think Josh Allen's going to be the guy to get him there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be because of him. I think it's going to be because of their defense.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But I do think that they have their defense is tremendous. I do think that they have a very talented running back in Devin Singletary. And Josh Allen, in his own right, can run. He rushed for 500 yards and 9 touchdowns last year. I don't think he's a great passer, but I think he's serviceable. I think he's good enough that he can get them over the hump. He just has to not have a breakdown like he did against Houston in the wild card round last year, and that's it.
Yeah, he could definitely. Who's the quarterback of the Ravens? Was that the Trent Dilfer when the
Sure.
Ravens won?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could Trent
Yeah.
Dilfer to a Super Bowl. Probably a little
Absolutely.
better because he's a little more dynamic.
Absolutely.
All right, but yeah, I don't. I mean, I hate that as a Jet fan, but I don't. I don't hate the take. I actually saw Josh Allen at a Yankee game one time.
Uh-huh.
He was with, I think he was with his agent and his girlfriend at the time. She was beautiful, but enough of that. Other offense.
Was that pre or post draft? Like, was that like when he was
It
being scouted by
was.
both the Jets and Giants?
So I was with my dad. It was no, it was post draft because he was
So he had already
definitely.
been drafted by the Bills. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. So let's go to outside linebacker and not talk about Josh Allen and all that.
Okay.
This is the guy at this position right now in my mind. That's Khalil Mack. I feel like we haven't overlapped before. I feel like this may be the one that we overlap on. But Khalil Mack is top 3 defensive players in football right now. Chris,
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
that? I mean, he had like a, if you want to call it a down year last year with 8.5 sacks.
Sure.
Considering 2018 he was 12.5, 2015 he had 15. So he is somewhat declining in that area, but I mean, he's a game changer. I mean, he's the guy every offensive coordinator circles like we have to stop this guy. Usually going to be coming off of if you're the offense, he usually comes off of your right side. And he just wreaks havoc. I mean, he's everyone's worst nightmare as an offensive lineman, I'd have to imagine. I never played that position, never played any position in football, but I'd have to imagine that
Mm-hmm.
Khalil Mack is an absolute monster to go up against. He masters the strip sack,
Yeah.
which is just super demeaning to the offense, and it's like almost insulting. It's literally the most important play off an outside linebacker can make. He's mastered it, and look, the Raiders had him. They had a chance to make him paid. The Bears jumped on it, and the Bears, I don't know if they have many great draft picks ahead of this now, but because of the trade, but Khalil Mack is worth every single asset that they gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you got there? Or do you have Khalil Mack?
I have Khalil Mack.
All right.
So yeah, there's not much more to add on that. Like you said, last year was kind of a down year at 8.5 sacks, which is still real good. Yeah, like he's I don't know what more you can say. The Bears made that trade because they thought I guess they hoped Trubisky was the guy, and hoped that he could get them over the hump. Mac could get them over the hump, and it hasn't so far. I guess they're hoping that maybe Foles can be the answer, and they can win the NFC North, and go to the Super Bowl with Khalil Mack, as the captain of their defense.
I hope so.
But yeah, I hope so too. That's a guy I really want to see win a Super Bowl, because he is one of the best players in the league, one of the best defensive players in the league. Maybe not for that much longer, but I think right now I'm still absolutely taking him, as one of my outside linebackers. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's already 29, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
it makes you worry that maybe his best years are behind him, but if he can still have a couple very good years for the rest of his Bears tenure, then I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, you think of like a guy like Terrell Suggs played a very long time at the same position, and obviously was not as great at the end, but he was still a very good player and helped your team. Like Khalil Mack, I think will always be able to help your team. I mean, because 8.5 sacks is still 8.5 sacks. Like it's still not a terrible number. It's not like his best numbers, but it's not a terrible number. Do you think? I mean, I know they have Nick Foles, and I know we're talking defense, but did you think before they got Nick Foles, the Bears were an option for Cam Newton?
I did. I thought they would be an option for either. I thought they'd be an option for either Andy Dalton or Cam Newton. I thought that either one would be a very good fit, because I do think Andy Dalton's a good quarterback. I think he's underrated. I don't think that he's the one that should shoulder the blame in Cincinnati. He had gotten them to the playoffs how many years? Was it 6 years he got them to the playoffs in Cincinnati?
Well, Andy Dalton will get you further than Mitch Trubisky. Like, there's no doubt
absolutely,
in my mind
absolutely. That. And I think if the Cowboys aren't able to work something out with Dak for whatever reason, I think they're still going to have a good year with Andy Dalton, the quarterback.
Yeah.
I think Andy Dalton still has a number of years as a starting quarterback in this league.
Me too. And, yeah, he made the playoffs. The Bengals made the playoffs 4 times with Andy Dalton, 4 years in a row. And, yeah, but I think Andy Dalton would get the Bears further than Mitch Trubisky. And obviously, honestly, once the Bears get to the playoffs with that defense and they have a very good backfield, if they just had a serviceable quarterback, they could be a team like the Bills. Like, Andy Dalton would not have had to be amazing, and Mitch Trubisky doesn't have to be amazing. But the problem is Mitch Trubisky is not even, like, borderline good.
Right. He had his second year. His second year was clearly an anomaly. He had a very good year his second year in the league. Got them to the playoffs. But I mean, aside from that, like he had that crazy 5-touchdown game against Philly. But yeah, like he's clearly not a starting quarterback.
No.
And they clearly shouldn't have traded up for him, considering that Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson went 6 and 7 picks, after him.
Yeah, that's a tough look for the Bears.
Tough pill to swallow, yeah.
So let's get to the defensive line, the big boys up front, as people call them. I went a little older with my first defensive end, Chris. He was a guy kind of wanted the Jets to try to make a move for. He ended up going to Baltimore, and that is Calais Campbell, who I think is consistently – he's not consistently the Walter Payton Man of the Year, but I think he's consistently a nominee. So I really like that about him. I think we should definitely highlight that a little bit. Calais Campbell is just a guy who gets the job done on the defensive end. He's still – I think I have his page up here. He is 33, so he's towards the end. Obviously, he's towards the end, but he'll mentor my second defensive end, which is important. And he's still a guy you don't want to face on Sunday, like, in my opinion. Last year, he had 6.5 sacks, which is down from 2018 and 2017, but it actually falls more in line with his, like, career average. And I think 6.5 as a career average, I'll take that more often than I won't take that. I think he's a disruptor. He's a good pass rusher, has good technique. And, I still don't think offensive linemen really look forward to facing him, Yeah. And in Baltimore, I'm just petrified I feel like he's going to thrive in Baltimore because I feel like pass rushers like him just always do extremely well there. So I'm excited for him to get a chance with the Ravens.
Totally. I went a little younger. I went with the 2019 Defensive Rookie of the Year, Nick Bosa.
Yeah, just a little younger.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. I forgot about Nick Bosa when we did this.
Yeah, I don't know how you can. I think that's on you.
Oh, it's 100% on me. I mean, I shouldn't have done it at 12 o'clock last night. I think that was the problem.
Right. 9 sacks. Where is it? 9 sacks, 45 pressures on the quarterback, 12 knockdowns. Yeah, he's just an absolute stud.
Tremendous.
I want to find his postseason numbers because he had 4 sacks in the postseason alone, along with 5 QB hits, 15 combined tackles, 11 solo tackles. He was one of the many reasons that the 49ers reached the Super Bowl.
I think 4 sacks is impressive because they only played 3 games, and then the one game against what was the game? It wasn't even like a fucking game. It was a blowout from like the jump. Was that the game they played the Vikings?
That was the Packers. I think.
Yeah, the Packers game. So like to have 4 sacks in 3 games, and one of them like you probably didn't even have to like go that hard for most of it. Like it's really 4 sacks in 2 games.
Totally. He's just a monster. He's gonna run this league. Excuse me. He's gonna run this league.
Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's better than Joey.
Me too.
I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think he's better than Joey.
You could pick Joey Bosa for your other defensive end and just fucking have a Bosa party.
Yeah,
you'd probably be in very good shape.
I think the only thing you can hold against this guy is his politics, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
he's got some problematic views, but otherwise, he is one of the best players in the league after only one season.
Yeah, from a pure football standpoint.
Yeah,
I agree with you. He's already up there.
He'll be a contender for Defensive Player of the Year every year for the next decade.
Yep, and that's what you need, a defensive end, edge rusher. Those are the money spots on defense. So that's definitely what you need. Go ahead.
Absolute no brainer at number 2 last year in the draft.
Yeah. Let's work our way to the other defensive end. So let's go with the really, really big boys at defensive tackle. Okay. We're gonna overlap on one of them. So let's just get him out of the way. I mean, unless you don't have Aaron Donald.
I do have Aaron Donald.
Okay,
yeah.
I wouldn't hold it against you. I'm not like that, but Aaron Donald is the absolute best. He is, again, top 3, top 5 defensive players in football. And for him to be a defensive tackle and have that rating next to him is purely bonkers. Gets to the quarterback at will.
In 2017, 2018, he won Defensive Player of the Year back-to-back. He had, in 2018, he had 20 and a half sacks as a defensive tackle.
20 and a half. Chris, there are probably teams whole defensive
that didn't have
line.
20 and a half sacks their entire line.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
The defensive tackle had it. The defensive tackle, if you guys don't know, is supposed to stop the run. They're not supposed to be rushing the quarterback like that.
Yeah.
And he does both. He stops the run and he gets to the quarterback. Last year, he only got 12 and a half sacks.
Only. It's like he almost does it by accident. Like he knows like he's just there like to stop the run, but like he's just so dominant that he's like, well, I'm going to keep going now and hit this guy with the ball instead of the running back. But I mean, his hands are second to none in terms of his technique. He's an absolute bull, and he's easily the best defensive tackle in the league. Top 5 defensive player in the league for sure, just to be conservative. Aaron Donald, you will not be disappointed if you put him on the football field, unless you're the offense.
Not. Absolutely not.
How do you think their offensive linemen like practicing against Aaron Donald?
They probably hate it. I'm sure they have like a deal where like one of them gets to sit out practice once a week.
There's probably there's probably this deal between like the PR staff and the offensive line. Like, no, look, you have to come out and say, oh yeah, I love it because I'm facing the best. There's always that fucking idiot. But then like behind closed doors, like, oh my god, I hate coming. I wonder if the Rams don't sign offensive linemen because they don't want to face Aaron Donald.
Their offensive linemen in practice probably sound like Henry Rowan-Gardner when he's at bat. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my god! Yeah, he's a beast. For those of you who don't get to watch a lot of Aaron Donald because he plays, on the Rams, YouTube him. You won't be disappointed. Another guy I went on the inside he's 29 years old. He is near and dear to your favorite team. Well, maybe not dear, but he's definitely near. And that's Fletcher Cox of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, that guy.
I mean, obviously, Chris, it's tough because, like, we just talked about Aaron Donald. So, like, no defensive tackles numbers are going to sound anywhere close to that. But Fletcher Cox is an extremely talented defensive tackle for the Eagles. And he
one of the best in the league.
He wreaks havoc. I mean, is he the second best? I'm not like that familiar with the defensive tackle position because I know it's Aaron Donald.
He's top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. He's good. He had 3.5 sacks last year, which is a more normal defensive tackle number. 2018, he had 10.5. So that was insane. That's still not even close to Aaron Donald. That's how good Aaron Donald is. It's just going to be a recurring theme. He even played defensive end a couple years for the Eagles, so I like that versatility. But But Fletcher Cox is just a big boy who you're just not getting by if you run the ball up the middle.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, my guy, I went a bit of a homer pick with this one.
Picked a Giant?
Yeah, I went with Dexter Lawrence.
Okay.
I think he had an excellent rookie year. Kind of taken over as that big run stuffer that had been sorely missed since we traded Snacks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went with Dexter Lawrence. Like I said, really, really, really good in run defense. Had 2.5 sacks, 38 combined tackles, 24 solo tackles. 9, got to the QB and with 15 pressures and 9 hits, which is pretty good for a defensive tackle, especially pretty good for a 342-pound defensive tackle.
That's absurd.
But I think he's going to turn into one of the best run blockers in the league. I think he was an awesome pick at 17. While I didn't think that defensive tackle was a huge need, considering we had Dalvin Tomlinson and DJ Hill, I love the guy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it was a good
Sexy
pick.
Dexy.
Sexy Dexy. I don't have much to say on him, honestly, Perk. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick your second defensive end, and then I'll say mine because it'll transition into a much more important conversation that we want to end the show with. So who did you have as your second defensive end?
My second defensive end is Chandler Jones with the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm familiar with his work.
Yeah, I'd hope you are if he had 19 sacks last year.
He's a fucking monster.
Yeah, 53 combined tackles, 42 solo tackles, 26 QB hits. He could have had you figure 26 QB hits and 19 sacks. He could have had 21, 22 sacks. And he's like pretty good in coverage, and he's really good in run defense as well. But yeah, this guy is one of the best pass rushers in the league. I don't even know if you can count on one hand, anybody that more pass rushers that are better than him. I don't know if there are two. I don't know if three. He's right up there next to anybody else in the league.
Yeah, if you're counting them down, Chandler Jones is on your first hand that you start counting on for sure.
And he just had his best season at 29.
Yeah, so maybe it's looking up, which is good because it usually looks down from there. So
exactly. So he just turned 30, and his best years might still be.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's good for the Cardinals, though.
And like you were talking about when we were talking about Khalil Mack, like the strip sack, like he had 8 forced fumbles last year.
Yeah, that's absurd as well.
He led the league in forced fumbles. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. He's getting older, but he's only getting better. He was first team All Pro last year. This guy's an absolute stud.
There's no argument from me. So yeah, Khalil Mack, Chandler Jones, mastering the strip sack at the NFL level. My guy, Chris, I went with Chase Young, who mastered it at the college level. Obviously has not played a snap in the NFL, so I have no NFL basis for putting him on this list besides my gut and everything I saw in college, everything I've heard from scouts like on the internet and on draft night. I mean, people are saying that they haven't rated a defensive end this high since Von Miller. And I mean, that really is all I need to know. I will take my chances here with Chase Young. There are definitely other guys in the NFL currently that could replace him, but I like Chase Young here. I like the youth. I like his attitude, the strip sacks I love. And I hope that it will be able to translate to the NFL level, because if it doesn't, my defense kind of shits the bed. So Chase Young, no pressure whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then Chris, I want this to trend. I told you here, I put him on here because I do like him, but I also did it for the sake of the segment. Yeah, today is Friday, July 3rd. This is going to come out on I think I'm going to try to get up today. But anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
on Thursday, it was announced FedEx issued a request to Dan Snyder to change the name of his football team.
Yeah, and that is important because FedEx of FedEx Field, where the Washington football team plays.
Yes.
So the threat would be, if you don't change the name, we will no longer, allow you to use our name as the name of the stadium. We basically saying we don't want to be associated with that anymore. Nike has taken down on their website. Nike has taken down anything Washington related. Obviously, Fanatics still has it because Fanatics is the official seller of NFL merchandise. But I don't know if it's going to be long before Fanatics pulls it.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Because I did an IG before this just to talk about it a little. But Pepsi is also one of the companies that investors are really pressuring to, I guess, disengage their relationship with the Washington team.
I'm assuming Pepsi is the soda distributor at the stadium or something.
Yeah, they're probably the main vendor of the stadium.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah, the article I read in the I think it's the Washington Post or Herald, whatever term they use. $620 billion worth of investors between FedEx, Nike, and Pepsi have said that they demand that those companies disengage with Dan Snyder, which is incredible.
That is an unfathomable amount of money.
Unfathomable, but Chris, there's the political stuff between Washington and everything, that's nothing new. But to have the financial pressure now, I think is really going to force Dan Snyder to make a move here, and it's about time.
I don't even think it's political.
Well, I think it's
the name of the team is a racial slur.
Well, yeah, I think people say racial slur, political pressure is synonymous. I agree with you. I think it's more, it's not political, but I think people look at it and just say, oh yeah, it's politics.
Yeah.
We did coronavirus.
Yeah. This is the thing that's been going on for loudly for about 5 years, but probably for the last 20 that people have been calling for the Redskins to change their name. And I'm sorry, I just said it. I've been trying to just say Washington. I've been trying to just Washington for the last decade. The fact that we're at this point and the name is still called that, the team is still called that name, is just and they've brought out Native American people that has come out that they paid to come to games and say oh no, it's not offensive. Meanwhile, there have been studies done by UC Berkeley and UCLA and USC that polled Native American groups and asked if they think the name is racist, and overwhelmingly they said yes, it is. It's a slur. It is basically to a Native American, it is like calling a black person the N-word. Right. It's a racial slur. It's as black and white as that. I just can't. First off, the amount of people that are well, that's just stupid. It's not. Come on. Well, what are you gonna change? Blackhawks now or Seminoles? No, because those are the names of tribes. Those you don't call it somebody as an insult.
Yeah. But I think it's important.
There's a reason that the Indians got rid of Chief Wahoo, because it's a racist caricature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think it's important because, you slipped up there and you said the team name, and that was something I mentioned on my Instagram at the _ on the bench. Part of it is that because owners have the right to name their companies what they want. I mean, that's a fact. Whether we agree with that fact or not, it is basically a fact. But the thing is, with it being a football team and being so embedded in the media, is that now you turn on ESPN and as much as like the NFL Live host or like the Countdown host or like SportsCenter host, like they don't want to say the name, like they're just gonna slip up because it's second nature. Like they've been going all day saying state or city team name, city team name, city team name. It's just gonna happen. And then same thing with like all the other news outlets that cover sports. And then you're just reaching a younger demographic, which is extremely dangerous. And then you're reaching just a huge mass of people. It's not just football fans that can say like, oh no, I'm just not going to say this term. Now, like you have everyone else just being exposed to it. And I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like you're not just a company, you're a brand, and that's the issue.
That's exactly it, is that you're a brand. Yeah, like just name the team like the Warriors or something, like the Washington Warriors.
He has the trademark to
reuse. Exactly.
Because you wouldn't make an Arena Football League team, and that's not going to happen, buddy.
And like, yeah, use that team name. You can still use like the spear logo, you know. And that, like, that's it. It's as simple as that. It's a change that he should have done 5 years ago. I think it's finally going to happen.
Me too. And the
ability of fucking everything up. So,
and while we were recording this, Chris, they actually issued a statement.
Oh, Washington just issued a statement?
Yeah, so I'm gonna read it. It's 4 paragraphs long, but it's not that lengthy. So I'm gonna read it.
Sure. Go for it.
In light of recent events around our country and feedback from our community, the Washington, I'm just gonna say team, are announcing the team will undergo a thorough review of the team's name. This review formalizes the initial discussions the team has been having with the league in recent weeks. Dan Snyder stated this process allows the team to take into account not only the proud tradition and history of the franchise, but also input from our alumni, the organization, sponsors, the NFL, and the local community it is proud to represent on and off the field. Ron Rivera, head coach of the team, remarked that this issue is of personal importance to me, and I look forward to working closely with Dan Snyder to make sure we continue the mission of honoring and supporting Native Americans and our military. We believe this review can and will be conducted with the best interest of all in mind. End statement. It seems kind of cookie cutter to me, honestly. That was my first.
It is. It's kind of a non-statement.
It's kind of like a John Heyman tweet, you know?
Yeah.
I hate to joke about so serious, but that's basically what it's like.
I got goosebumps at the beginning. Honestly, the hair on my arm is standing up, and like that, I got that at the beginning because like finally something, but then at the end it's just like nothing. They're just going to a review and be like, oh, you know, we found no problems with it.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Just change it. Like, it's not hard to change a brand when you have billions of fucking dollars.
It's July 3rd. The league doesn't start for another 2 months, like the season, you know? Yeah. By then, you can edit some uniforms. You can edit helmet decals and stuff like that. You're not going to change the color scheme. That's fine. But just change the team name. And you can just change the team name and get Redskins off of the front of the jersey and get the logo off the sleeve of the arm, you know? Like, that's all it takes.
And you could expedite all of that because all the companies that you're going to need to be involved to make that expedited change want to be a part of that change. They want to say, oh, no, we were the company that helped Washington get rid of their name, and we helped social change.
My hope is that in these meetings that they're going to hold with brands that are investors and stuff like that, hopefully they'll be, hey, we're going to pull funding if you don't change the name. Like, we're going to cease our relationship with you. Hopefully that's what happens. But yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath because,
my concern is
that should have happened a long, long time ago.
My concern is even if like these sponsors pull out, that other sponsors be like, okay, yeah, we'll take it because we need the exposure because of stuff we lost from Corona. But I hope, given the climate that we're in, that like that just doesn't happen. But to say if FedEx pulls out, like, you know, someone won't take their place is probably nearsighted. But I mean, but this is the best chance that we have.
Nike is huge because obviously Nike is the is the manufacturer of the NFL's uniforms. So if Nike says, "Hey, we're not going to make Washington uniforms unless they change the name," then that'd be huge. I'm not sure what their, if it lies in their contract that they're not able to do that, but hopefully they are.
Well,
hopefully they can. Hopefully they can put out that bluff and and see if it works.
Yeah, I would be interested to see how far Nike takes it. Like if they go to the NFL and like, look, well, we don't need you. Like if they don't change their name, you could just tear up the contract and we'll pay whatever we have to pay, and you can go to fucking Adidas, Under Armour, and one of those. Let them do it, and we're done.
Yeah, Nike can say we've got this new deal with MLB. We make college uniforms. We don't need the NFL. Like, we're fine.
They don't.
Yeah.
They probably realize. I mean, obviously, money helps anything, but they probably really don't even need the NFL. They probably make more out of basketball, if I were to assume.
Sure. Is basketball no longer Adidas?
Pretty sure it's Nike. That would be terrible if I just said. I think I'm 99% sure.
Is it Nike? It might be Nike.
Yeah, they're sold on Nike.com, so it's definitely Nike. Yeah, it's Nike.
Yeah, Nike makes the NBA jerseys. Adidas, the Adidas deal ended like 3 years ago. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, look, will it change?
Yeah, so
we don't know, but this is the best chance that this feels real. This is more than just like people exclaiming it on Twitter.
This is the most real it's ever felt like in our lifetimes. This is going to change finally.
Yeah. You know what hurt, Chris, is when I put up this Instagram, I went to tag them in it. And their tag is at Redskins. I know, and this is the description that I put. Hold on, let me get this up because I think it's funny. I said change the name at their handle, and I said also the fact that you are so tone deaf to have that be your IG handle is absolutely disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And it is.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can't think of anything like Washington NFL. What's wrong with that? What's wrong? I don't know.
Right. Honestly, it was probably a mandate by Dan Snyder that was like, no, this is our handle for everything.
Probably. Maybe he should just sell the team.
Like that's not a decision. That's not a decision that comes from like the social media person. That comes from the top of like what their brand is, how they're going to brand themselves. So.
Yeah. Well, right now they're branding themselves as assholes and a mediocre football team. So.
Yeah. I don't want to attack an innocent social media person, like
no, because that person probably knows better.
Doing his job. Yeah, sure he does.
Yeah, he just wants to get paid. Which I respect.
We should be attacking the people at the top. So I don't want anybody listening to this. I don't want anybody to go on Twitter or Instagram or anything and start, attacking the Redskins Twitter because that's not what this is about. They'll see it, but like if enough people do it, they'll see it. But like at the end of the day, it's just going at some innocent social media person.
Sure.
Yeah. So that that's not on that person. This is on the team. So I hope people protest in front of their headquarters. I hope people protest in front of their practice facility. I hope all that shit.
Yeah.
And I hope that their sponsors threaten to leave if they don't change the name. Because with everything going on in the world right now, and it seems like the culture is changing for the better, that not that PC culture is like better, but like a less racist culture is better. So I hope that something can change and that I no longer have to, see people with fucking like red face paint and Indian headdress at football games.
Right. I said like in my IG, I want to end it here. It's like, it's a good time to live in because we're seeing all this change, like hopefully happen, but it also makes it a bad time to live in because we need all this change to happen.
Yeah.
But if the change actually follows through, like we're looking at like a historic time to be alive and to be so young in this time is really powerful if the change is able to happen.
Yeah, like this should never have been a thing in the first place.
Yeah.
But the fact that things are changing, excuse me, I'm sorry, that
right.
things are changing is it's not early. It's 11:40. I shouldn't be yawning.
I've been up since 7, so whatever.
Yeah, I'm on my work schedule, so I woke up at 6:30 today.
Nice.
But no, but the fact that things are changing is very promising. Like I'm at least personally for myself, like I'm getting married. Maria and I are going to be starting a family within the next 5 years, and I want my kids to grow up in a world that's different than the one that I grew up in.
Yeah, I think it's well said. I think it's a good place to end it. We went a little long, but I think what we just said was really important. It was definitely more important than the NFL defensive lineups we did, but those are also fantastic.
Those are also very important.
So I hope
it's two dumb guys' opinions on players they like.
Yeah. So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Thank you all for listening. Perk, thank you for hopping on today on your day off.
Of course.
It felt good to do this like with sunlight because I usually record like
it's
7
so
or 8.
So good. And I think the living room is going to be my new spot because you don't hear buses driving past in the background. So I think the living room is the new spot for me to record with you.
All right, man. I look forward to having you back on again.
I was just gonna say I appreciate you having me on again. I hope we can do it again soon on hopefully a better topic than what we just covered for the last 15 minutes.
Yes, definitely a better topic. You guys know the drill. Rate, review, subscribe, Into the Bench Show, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, all that. Follow us on Instagram, _on_the_bench, Twitter at the OTB. Want to be a supporter, hit the support link in the description. I will see you next week. Perk, you will be back eventually, and I will see you soon.
Thank you, buddy.